What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another live stream. Sim is about, I don't know where he is right now in this world, but he is on his way to Hong Kong for the pre-season tour. And all week you have the dream team with you, myself and Mr. Brian Daigle from Tottenham on Tour. Everyone do go and smash that subscribe button on Tottenham on Tour. How many away from 10,000 are you now, Mr. Brian?
Under 250. Under 250. So hopefully with my residency here this week, we can do it. If not, I'm going to take up squatters' rights and see it's done, and you can't come back until we got there. But yeah, very much looking forward to the residency this week with you, Ben.
Yeah, me too, my brother, me too. But first and foremost, look, we're going to get into all the what's been happening over the last couple of days. I want to hear from you, your reaction. I mean, we've spoken a little bit about it behind closed doors, but the people, the We Are Tottenham TV army need to hear from you on the Morgan Gibbs-White situation, on the state of the current transfer window. And yeah, we'll get into that a bit later on in the stream. But let's get into this Tottenham update first and foremost, because there's been some interesting updates today. First up, we're going to talk about Mr. Mikey Moore. Interesting development with him, as Matt Law says that Rangers have emerged as favourites to sign Mikey Moore on loan from Tottenham. There's been a lot of interest, particularly from the Championship, but Rangers is seen as the most likely destination. And Sky Sports has said that Spurs and Mikey Moore both believe that the season of regular first-team football would be the best for his development. Spurs forward Mikey Moore is expected now to join Rangers on a season-long loan deal. It'll be a straight loan. Moore chose Rangers despite several offers from clubs in the Championship. So we obviously saw yesterday that he's been left out the tour to find a loan move for the current season. What's your opinion on Mikey going on loan, particularly to Rangers?
First of all, I think the loan move is the right thing to do. I can't see him getting regular first-team football, especially if we get rid of Son and we bring in another left winger. He needs to go and get regular game minutes, develop, and come back to Tottenham Hotspur a much stronger player with a lot more experience under his belt. When I was thinking of loan moves, you were looking, obviously you think Championship. Obviously there was the links with Borussia Dortmund, which I think would have been fantastic, the way they've developed young talent and specifically English. But Rangers I wouldn't have thought of the Scottish League, but I think that's a great move. He'll get regular first-team football. He'll get regular. It'll be a tough competition, as in the standard and the physicality of it. I think it could be the making of him.
And you know, they're currently in the Champions League as well. They're in the second round qualifying right now. They're 2-0 up against Panathinaikos after the first leg. So what unbelievable experience it could be for him going to a big club, playing in that stadium, Ibrox. We got a taste of it last season. The atmosphere there, and as well, he is actually going to be the highest valued player in the SPL next season. How mad is that?
That's insane. But that is insane when you think about it. But yeah, the great thing, like I said, that it is a ginormous football club. Forget the league it's in. Rangers and Celtic, obviously, are massive, massive football clubs worldwide. And this will be a very, very good move for him. And like we said, it's going to be obviously a standard that he should do well in. He's going to learn a lot about the physicality of the game. There'll be a lot of attention on him. And it's the right move. Alone is the right move. And Rangers looks like his destination, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I feel like it's a loan move where he could go there a boy and come back a man. I think that Scotland could be the making of him. I really do. Play week in, week out football. Score a bag of goals up there. Be an influential player week in, week out for Rangers, and then come back and really fight for your place at Tottenham.
Perfectly put, Ben. I've got nothing else to say. You have just wrapped it up and summed it up perfectly, beautifully.
Thank you, my friend. Let's talk about a bit of a strange one regarding Antonin Kinsky. Loic Tanzi, a journalist out in France, saying that Lille are in negotiations with Tottenham to sign Antonin Kinsky on loan. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, surely this can't be true. Like, what, we're going to go into next season as Brandon Austin is our number 2? Like, I just can't see it. Kinsky has done well in pre-season so far. We saw him at the back end of last season, did really well. we've all been speaking about how he's probably a better fit than Vicario for the number 1 jersey for Thomas Frank as well, with his ability to play out the back. Can you see there be any truth in this?
Absolutely none. Absolutely no. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Like you said, we all thought, you think the attributes that Kinsky has are much suited to what we've seen him have as his style of goalkeeper at Brentford. And a lot of people were thinking maybe he's going to be the number 1 by the end of the season. We've seen his distribution in both the Reading and the game that he played on Saturday.
Luton, yeah.
Luton, yeah, made a couple of good saves there. One of them stood out, which is where we were kind of dubious on that shot-stopping quality. And the only way I can see this even ever remotely being true is if we're bringing in a top goalkeeper, which is either going to relegate Vicario to the bench or be serious competition. And I just can't see Spurs doing that. So I think Kinsky stays at Spurs, and whether he becomes the number 1 by the end of the season is another question. But I just can't believe there's a single ounce of truth in this.
If his shot stopping keeps getting better, and I think it was better at the back end of last season, it definitely was on show on the weekend against Luton, brilliant save, then he can overtake Vicario for that number 1 spot, in my opinion. And that's if Vicario doesn't improve his playing at the back, which hasn't seemed to have done. It just doesn't make sense to let go of Kinsky and to sell Keeley in the same window. It just makes no sense.
Joe, I'm just slightly disagree with you on something here. I mean, first of all, I mentioned it on a tweet. I think Vicario's distribution, yes, it was Luton, and yes, it wasn't Premier League pressing and everything. His distribution was night and day from what it's been recently. Like, his distribution was his long passing, short passing, looked more comfortable. It looks like Otto's come in, or Otte, however you pronounce the goalkeeper coach, has already been working with him on it. I thought his distribution looked a lot sharper. Like I said, it's only one game, but we saw against Reading when he came on, he looked very uncomfortable on the ball. Against Luton, he looked very comfortable on the ball. And maybe Otte, however you pronounce his name, has been working on it. But one of the main things I took away from the Luton game, and let's face it, there wasn't exactly loads of positives to write home about, was Vicario's distribution.
Look, it wasn't bad against Luton, but I still don't think it's on the level of what Kinsky can provide and what he's shown so far in a Spurs shirt. I mean, just that distribution, to be able to get it to a player further up the pitch and to be absolutely pinpoint. I mean, I just take you back, like you mentioned, to that Reading game. He just looked like a complete bag of nerves. Great. And sometimes with Vicario, like, it's very up and down. Sometimes he looks like he's decent, and sometimes he's just like really shocking. So, and I think that's just the theme that we've seen throughout his Spurs career, to be honest. I don't think it's a new thing, what we saw against Reading. I think it's consistent to what we've seen. Maybe some games it's like Reading, some games it's like Luton.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's right. I mean, even when we did the watch along away at Frankfurt, when we were like, just kick the ball out, just get it away from the danger zone, and just, if that's what you need to do. But I think his distribution was much improved from Reading. Like you said, it could be we could play Arsenal on Thursday, and it could be, but it was one of the things I saw. But you're right, Kinsky's on the ball is night and day ahead of Vicario, and Vicario's shot stopping is night and day ahead. So maybe with the goalkeeper coach, they will improve steadily. But for me, that's definitely an improvement. But like we said, this whole story we're talking about is about Kinsky, and unless we are bringing in a top tier goalkeeper, which I don't think we are, I don't think there's anything in this Kinsky story.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope not. I really hope not, because we can't go into a season with Brandon Austin as number 2. As much as I like Brandon, he came in and did a job for us at the back end of last season. I mean, there's clear levels between the two keepers, Kinsky and Brandon Austin. I think that's safe to say. Let's talk about some outfield players now, and we're going to go to talk about Kobbie Mainoo of Manchester United, as there's a report from Give Me Sport saying that Tottenham have made contact over the potential signing of Manchester United midfielder Kobbie Mainoo, with his contract situation unresolved. Tottenham have been keeping an eye on Mainoo's contract situation for some time now, and because it is unresolved, they have initiated contact over a possible move. Spurs are said to be impressed by Mainoo's versatility and have made initial inquiries to explore the feasibility of a potential transfer. I mean, look, he's a player who I'd love love to see through the door at Tottenham. But again, it's not really one I can see happening this window anyway.
Yeah, I think this guy has unbelievable potential. Really, I mean, we saw it in the Euros, didn't we? He's one of the star players for England on that run to the final. Had a very poor season with United last season, but there's so much going wrong at United and injuries. I think this guy's got all the talent to be a star. It's whether Spurs follow through with this transfer. And now, because of the Morgan Gibbs-White catastrophe, blunder, whatever, fiasco, whatever you want to call it, this does become a player that would interest Spurs or would interest myself as well. But again, it's reaching all the potential in the world, not showing it. But if he came, I would be delighted. I would be delighted. But is it the right way to go right now?
You're looking at, we're talking about his contract situation. His contract runs until 2027, but the club do have an option to extend that for a further year. So it's not like it's running down with a year left, you know what I mean? So I still think Man United will probably hold on to him for another year at least, even if he's not signing that new contract, because they've still got a bit of power in terms of the player's future. So it's not like he's about to leave on a free or anything like that. I think it will take big money to get Kobbie Mainoo out of Manchester United this summer. Yeah,
I think, Ben, as well, this could be one that could drag to the latter part of the window. And if Manchester United strengthen with getting a striker in or other areas that they want to strengthen, and then they need to recoup some money, then this could be one that opens up. But I didn't know his contract had that long left to last, in all honesty. So even more difficult now, in my opinion. But it would be a player that would be, I think, a welcomed addition at Spurs.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. I think he would slot straight in. Brilliant player. Got such vast amount of experience for someone of his age as well. I think he's done it in big games for Manchester United. I love everything about him. And also, when he was younger, pictured in the Spurs shirt as well. So you never know. Maybe he's a closet weirdo.
There you go. Well, you got to think so. You've got to think that he's a closet weirdo. And like I said, he has shown potential. He has done it in the big games. I remember him doing it in the FA Cup against Liverpool at Old Trafford, which is a massive. Obviously, we all know the magnitude of that game. So he has done it. Injury has been a problem, but it is a player that would do well at Tottenham and suit what we need.
Another player that we've been linked with is a player out in Saudi, Alexander Mitrovic, caught offside, saying that Mitrovic has been linked with a move back to the Premier League. Mitrovic is on the radar of Manchester United, Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur. Al Hilal are expecting a fee of around 30 million euros. The reported asking price is quite affordable for clubs like Tottenham and Newcastle. It'll be interesting to see if they come forward with an offer to sign him. Would you take Mitrovic over Richarlison for next season?
Well, first of all, I mean, the wages that he's on there, and then coming back to England.
Look, if he wants to come back to Europe, he ain't getting Saudi wages. Let's
exactly.
Be real.
Of course. If it was to Fulham Mitrovic, then yes, I would. Yes, I would. I think we need the striker that I think we need, or I would prefer, is kind of like a Jermaine Defoe kind of diminutive, ruthless striker, as opposed to a big stocky one that Solanke can do. Let's face it. He may not be as physical as Mitrovic and have that bite about him, but he's got those attributes. So if we're to get another striker, I would prefer a more Defoe keen kind of forward. But Mitrovic, if he came back and had the form he was in Fulham, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, as a backup striker or a rotation striker for Dom Solanke, someone that has scored goals for a number of years now, Prem proven at Fulham. Yes, maybe he didn't cut at Newcastle earlier on in his career, but once he found a home and really developed, you really saw him, score a bucket load of goals in that Fulham side for, I think, was it 1 or 2 years? I can't remember off the top of my head. But you know what? I think if we were to go, if it was a kind of additional signing to big signings in elsewhere of the pitch, I would take it, Someone that can, hopefully has proved his fitness over the last couple of years, as opposed to someone like Richarlison, who we just can't guarantee will stay fit for 2 games in a row, never mind half a season, you know what I mean? So I think I would take it,
But also with this, Ben, if you look at it, would you think Or will people think with us going for this, it's even more of an indication to Richarlison that like your days are numbered?
Yeah, of course.
So he's saying he doesn't want to leave Tottenham. He wants to fight for his place or stay in the Premier League. You would think that would do it, wouldn't you? So if we were to pursue this, you'd need to get Richarlison out the door. We do need to get players out the door, but then it's just the same striker, isn't it? We're missing that live wire of a striker. So who knows with Spurs? But if we're talking a like for like replacement, then Mitrovic is a Richarlison type player, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, in Saudi he's been absolutely ripping it up. But, I mean, it is the Saudi league, so you've got caveat. I mean, 19 goals in 23 last season, 28 in 28 the season before. I mean, he's been, like, outscoring or, like, on a par with, like, Cristiano Ronaldo out there. So, I mean, there's still something to say for that. And then at Fulham, in his last season here, was brilliant. 14 goals in 24, 43 goals in 44 games in the Championship the year before that. I mean, the guy has scored crazy amount of goals. He really has.
If that player's coming, if that Fulham player, like we said, and obviously he's been tearing it up in Saudi, then it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think as a squad player, as a backup to Solanke, and you never know, at some point of the season, you might favour him to Solanke.
I was about to say, do you think, honestly, I think if Mitrovic was to come, is there a case for him being the starting striker? I'm a fan of Solanke, and I think Solanke with the right, if we get the midfield balance right. And again, this is another guy that thrives on crosses, isn't it, as well, with his power and aerial ability. So we need to have people that can cross the football. But I think if you sign Alexander Mitrovic, as much as I am a fan of Solanke and think he'll have a better season, does he come in thinking he's the number one guy? Should he be the number one guy?
Yeah. I mean, look, he would need to win the shirt. But if he won the shirt, then I've got no problem with him starting. No problem at all. And last but not least, this is why you're all here. We're going to speak about Rodrygo now, as Ramon Alvarez, who is considered a tier 1 source out in Spain, covers La Liga. He says that Tottenham are in talks for Rodrygo and waiting to see if Liverpool make a move. Nothing has been decided by the player, who could still stay at Real Madrid. Graham Bailey says that Rodrygo has shown a willingness to join Tottenham. Spurs have held talks with intermediaries to understand the player's situation. Tottenham have budgeted for a big-name arrival to potentially replace Son Heung-min this summer. I mean, it does look increasingly likely that Son Heung-min is going to leave this summer. We've heard about, various teams being interested in Rodrygo. Is there any alternate universe, any sort of world, any sort of way that Spurs can sign Rodrygo this summer?
In alternate universes, it probably will happen. In an alternate universe, you probably sign Morgan Gibbs-White, because we get nice things in alternate universes. I just can't see it. And I refuse now. I refuse to believe what these people were saying, for a majority of them. And as I said in my video I did yesterday, we have now become the patsy, the stocking horse, let's do all the work and then a big club will come in and rival us, or he'll get a new contract and his agent talk. So I'm going to be very, very wary with this one. Yes, it would be a phenomenal signing. Yes, it will be a massive show of intent from the football club. Yes, it will get everyone excited. And we've got to remember, people, even when we let go of Sonny, which we were saying it looks very, very likely, whether we want to say whether he had a good season or not, or he's dropping off, he still had 20 goal contributions that we need to replace.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, forget how you thought he played last season. Got 20 goal contributions. And you take that out of the football club, we need someone to replace that and deliver that or exceed it. So would Rodrygo do it? Probably, yes. But I've learned my lesson, and I'm not going to get excited till this gets a lot further down the line. But I think I just can't see it happening. Would love it, but just can't see it.
Yeah. The thing is with Rodrygo, right? As much as he is a very, very good football player, I don't know if he can come in and equal the amount of goal contributions that Sonny got for us consistently. I don't think he's ever hit 20 goal contributions in a season, like even for Real Madrid. And that's, I know, like he has been playing a lot off the bench and in and out of position. And don't get me wrong, I'd get super excited if we could get Rodrygo in. But do you think he could or he would replace those goals that Sonny doesn't bring us?
You'd want to believe he could. And I think, you know what, we all know the pressure that you get for playing for Real Madrid. And obviously he isn't the star man at Real Madrid. There's a lot of players ahead of him. He comes to Tottenham, he's a star man instantly, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to be treated like the maverick, the big time player. And hopefully that will be a confidence boost for him and put him in a good frame of mind to be able to deliver that. And then you imagine him on the left and Kudus on the right. That becomes very, very mouth-watering, doesn't it? Pace, power.
It does. I mean, it would be the biggest major coup Tottenham have ever gotten in the Premier League. That's what this would be.
I put it on a par with Klinsmann. Obviously, the valuations of Klinsmann and whatever are miles and miles apart. But Jurgen Klinsmann coming to Spurs was one of the biggest jaw-dropping moments in Premier League history, in my opinion, for a player of that stature to come to us. But this would be massive. In the modern era, this is 100%. This would be like the biggest jaw-dropping since Rafa van der Vaart.
Well, apparently it is Spurs and Liverpool who have the biggest interest right at this moment in time. We heard earlier in the window Arsenal was sniffing around, but they've walked away. Apparently, they're favouring a move for Eberechi Eze. With Liverpool, with the amount of money that they've spent so far in the window, can they actually go and get a deal done for Rodrygo? I don't know. Obviously, they're all their attention's on Alexander Isak at the moment. Do Spurs have an opportunity right now, with Sonny potentially going, that they can actually surprise so many people and get this done?
It would be a matter. Listen, apparently the finances are there. Apparently, obviously, with Sonny's wages going, that's a huge amount off the wage bill. Could we pay his wages? I think when we did this and we looked at it, I think he's on £202,000 a week currently at Real Madrid. So
pounds, yeah.
You know what? We can hit that. We can hit that. So there are a lot of things to say it can happen. But the other thing, and I hadn't even thought of it until you said it, why would Spurs go and pay 90 million or whatever it would take to get him when we can just pay 68 million on a release clause and get Eberechi Eze? So that's another kind of, unless Spurs want to really reach for the stars.
Eze's going to Arsenal, so that's...
I don't. Is that literally as good as done kind of thing?
It's not as good as done, but I'm pretty certain it's going to happen.
And actually, I don't want Spurs to go for anyone with a release clause right now because God knows what will turn up. But we'll see. I mean, if this comes, this would be a blockbuster, wouldn't it? It would be an absolute blockbuster.
It would be the most exciting signing in Spurs' Premier League history, I think. I genuinely believe that. I think what a player we have in our hands, and what a player he is. And even if he doesn't bring those kind of goal contributions or as many goal contributions as what Sonny brings, he brings so much more to the team, in my opinion. And look, he can play right, he can play left, he can play through the middle. Very versatile player as well. I'm not kind of getting myself excited just yet because I just know how this club work and operate and how the press operates. But if there is any sort of possibility to bring him in, you've got to push the boat out and get it done. You have to. Yep.
Yeah, but you've got to. Listen, we're running out of time. We all know that we've been burnt by Forest, and we need to make an impact now. And this deal would make a massive impact, and will be a a highly welcomed addition, and we'll get just the thought, like I said, of seeing Kudus down one wing, him down the other. That's salivating. That is like edge of your seat. We talked about not having a player that gets you on the edge of your seat and makes you feel like something's going to happen any minute now. Well, those two, pace, power, direct, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. And that, like we said, we keep saying it. This would be a huge statement signing. Should it happen? Will it happen? Is another question.
If there's any sort of truth to what Graham Bailey is saying, that he's shown a willingness to join Spurs, do not fuck this up, Daniel. Do not waste any time, and you go and get this deal done. You just go and get it done.
Yep. And preferably go get it done now whilst we're on tour.
Yeah,
so when they come back, it's there.
Exactly. And there's actually just been one more thing that's just come to light from Ben Jacobs. He's got an exclusive, he's claiming, that LAFC are advancing to sign Spurs captain Son Heung-min. Son to decide after the Newcastle friendly in Korea. LAFC believes Son prefers the MLS to Saudi, and Spurs won't stand in Son's way if he decides to leave. And for me, this is actually heartbreaking, man, to see Son going to the MLS at this stage of his career. Look, I know he's no spring chicken. He's 33 years of age. But with the amount of goal contributions he got in the Premier League last season, I think I still think he can offer Spurs a lot more going forward into this season.
He can, but you know, the way I'm looking at it with Heung-min Son now, mate, Heung-min Son has given us 10 years of incredible service. Incredible. Stayed loyal. Stayed with us. Got the trophy line. And obviously, he's under immense pressure and under the spotlight. And as you know, Ben, when I say overplayed and undervalued, whenever he's fit, he plays. Fit, you play. Fit, you play. His body has been used 10 years on the spin, non-stop, relentlessly, not rotated, not. Maybe he said to himself, do you know what? Like Dembele did when he said, my body's packing up. Maybe Heung-min Son, the person, said, do you know what? I may be able to still do it in these leagues, but I want to have a different lifestyle. I want to have a different final few years of my season where, yes, there's pressure on me, but not the intense pressure that I get in Europe. Maybe he's just wanted a change of scenery completely and a league where he can still do exceptionally well, but his personal life, his private life, his quality of life to be a lot more chilled than it would be anywhere in Europe. So I'm looking at this more now as Son, the person, and what he wants to do for the final years of his career, as opposed to what he can offer on the football pitch.
Mm. He has always had an interest in ending his career, or as it's petering out, going to the MLS. I think he has spoken about it in the past. LA obviously has a massive, I think the biggest Korean community outside of Korea.
Yeah.
So there are a few kind of lifestyle reasons why he would want to go to LAFC, but I just kind of feel like that would always be there for him. Like he can stay another year at Tottenham or spend another few years in the European leagues and play at the highest level. I still think he's still got it in him. But then there is another part of me that kind of goes back to what you were saying just there, being like about his body breaking down on him a little bit. And I can't get away from the fact that a lot of it has to do with the way Ange Postecoglou managed him last season. And I know, you've been saying it for a number of years, even prior to Ange Postecoglou, about, overplayed, undervalued, all that kind of stuff that you were just mentioning. But the way that Ange used him last season, running up and down that left wing as a touchline winger, get him to do the defensive work, non-stop running. Just look at the way Arne Slot managed Mo Salah last season. Mm-hmm. And look at the way that Ange Postecoglou managed Sonny last season. The way Arne Slot managed Salah last season, that is the way to manage someone of that age. Don't get them doing too much of the defensive work. Don't get them doing too much of the running. Get them in the danger zones, and they'll reap the benefits, and the team will reap the benefits because they'll get the goal contributions. Yeah, no,
listen, there is to that as well. But like I said, this has been happening. You look at it whenever Harry Kane got injured, instead of playing another striker, Sonny had to go over there to cover that. Then he'll go back to left wing. He never got a chance with all of our managers. I think he had that one dip of form a bit with Conte, didn't he? Where he dropped in and then he came on against Leicester and scored that hat trick. But I think every other manager, Nuno as well, everyone, if he's fit, he's played. Doesn't matter about your form. If he's fit, he's played.
Yeah.
And I think his body has just literally come to. Obviously, with Ange, like you said, it was a very demanding role he asked for him, but asked for everyone. But I think the damage was already done with his body and with playing him constantly. And like I said, there's time where you got to look at it, and maybe this guy has said, do you know what? I just want a bit more of my quality of life back as a person, not as an athlete. And also, you got to remember, America and the MLS will, but what a coup for them coming into a World Cup season to get Heung-min Son out there. It just ticks so many boxes for me, and I'm looking at it that way more than what he can offer in the league now. I think his body and himself just wants a bit more peace and freedom, and I don't blame him at all for it.
Well, look, that is the Tottenham update for today. Obviously, the big news or the big report, shall I say? It's not. I wouldn't say it's just news just yet on Rodrygo and Sonny. But we'll see how everything does develop over the coming days. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.